Welcome to the Mukilteo Football Show. My name is Miles.
And my name is Kirk. Last week of the regular season, folks. We've made it. What a long, hard trek it has been.
Seriously.
Man,
the 18th week hits you, man.
I know.
It's like, wait, it's not done?
Yeah.
After 40 years of doing 16 or 17 weeks.
Most of the fantasy championships are done. You know, people are like, feel like it's over, but we're into playoff time. This is when football's fun.
Did you win any fantasy?
I did not. I got second.
Okay.
In one of them. Lost the others. And I'm close in that steaming sauce.
Cumulative league.
Cumulative
so you're
league.
still playing this week.
I was down 100 just 3 weeks ago. Now I'm down 18.
Wow. And that's Jonathan Taylor. That's Saquon Barkley.
Joe Burrow.
T.
Higgins.
Wait, you have Barkley or?
Barkley, Taylor, Burrow, Higgins.
Oh, my God.
Carried the team this month.
I mean, that's like the best you could possibly have this month.
Yeah.
I guess Higgins.
This is why I came back from 100 points. So.
Wow.
And this is why cumulative leagues are fun. Because it doesn't depend on your matchups. But we're not here to talk about fantasy sports.
No, we're not. No one cares about your fantasy team. No one cares about our fantasy teams. We know. We're here to talk about Week 18. Although I've been just shitting all over the NFL this year, saying all the seeds are locked up. Stop feeding me BS drama. We've somehow backwards stumbled our way into a all-time classic Week 18 matchup, which is the Sunday night game between the Lions and the Vikings.
Right.
Head-to-head, 14-2 teams for the 1 seed. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Baffling. 1 seed or you're on the road next week.
Yeah. Wow.
Like I've never seen anything like it.
I tried to find another game, a head-to-head game for the 1 seed in a finale. Could not find one.
Yeah.
There was a 1967 battle between the Colts and Rams.
Okay.
But back then, that was a division title, and only the division winners went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we have those all the time. We got finales for the division. We have that all the time.
And 67 was a while ago.
That was.
Let's be honest.
Good point. Well, today, obviously, there's no Thursday game. Let's talk about the MVP race. That's where I want to start. We'll talk about the AFC North Saturday that we got coming on NBC and Peacock. A little bit about the other ramifications of the NFC North thing going on.
Yep.
And then we'll finish with that Minnesota-Detroit game.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the Mukilteo Football Show. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. We got shows Sunday, Monday, Thursday after the primetime games, soon to be after the playoffs.
Yep.
I'm so pumped for the playoffs.
I'm just ready. I'm ready for it already. But what do we find ourselves doing before Wild Card Weekend every single December? I guess now January 1st here. Yep.
Let's talk about MVP.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's the constant media content lead-in.
Yeah.
Including the show.
But it has to be decided now, even though it won't be announced until right after the AFC Championship and NFC Championship game. It's like right before the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
That's when they do the NFL honors.
Yeah, but you're right. They have to put their votes in like next week before the wild card.
Because you watch a playoff game, it'll change everything. Yeah. But yeah, here we are, MVP. Have to talk about it right now. It's now or never. And we've been talking about it all year, not us personally, but everybody since week 2 has been like, week 2, the Saints are 2-0, put up 91 points in 2 weeks.
Is Derek Carr the MVP?
Right? It's been there the whole time.
Yeah, we do hold off on it ourselves. We don't really. In fact, I don't really know where you're going to go with this. This is one of the hardest years.
Yeah.
Because last year, Lamar kind of got it by default. You could no longer make a case for Purdy or Dak last year.
Yeah.
But this year, it is incredibly tough between Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and you could throw Saquon Barkley in there, especially with the historic stuff on the horizon. I don't know. Who do you think should be MVP?
Man, it's a tough one because I love Joe Burrow, but they might not make the playoffs. So you can't really give him MVP, even though he is the most valuable player on that team. For the league, if you don't make the playoffs, I mean, you didn't do enough, even though you are friggin' awesome. His stats are incredible this year.
It's the Drew Brees, the mid-2010s Drew Brees, which I always defended him not getting those MVPs. People say it's crazy, but I feel like Drew Brees back then and Joe Burrow this year is getting game scripts to have 10 more touchdowns and 1,000 more yards this year. If Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen had that all season long, they would also have those stats.
Yeah.
If their defense kept ruining their game-winning drives and they had to go do a second one and the third one, they would do it. We've seen that with Josh Allen in the last few weeks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so I think Burrow's kind of out.
Okay, and I do too. He has like the most eye-popping numbers. He has the most yards, the most touchdowns.
Yeah. But his team wasn't getting the wins.
Yeah.
And so that's going to knock you. And I hate to say that because it's just how it goes. Like if this was basketball, like Russell Westbrook when he was getting all those triple doubles and they sneaked in as an 8 seed, you can give him the MVP because that's basketball. Football's different. You got to win games.
Yeah, and the award, I think what people complain about is that it's always an award for the 1 seed or the 2 seed quarterback, but there is something to be said for the intangible raising the level of play of your teammates.
Yeah.
It doesn't show up directly on the stat sheet.
If it was just about stats, we would know who won the MVP already.
Right.
We'd be like, it's Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
He's got the best
We would
stats.
just look at the stats.
Nobody would have to vote on it.
All right. I had thought you might be going Burrow. He was your preseason pick for MVP. You love Joe Burrow.
I can't sit here and say that he is going to win it.
Okay. Well, then I'm excited. Who do you think is going to win?
I think it's going to be Josh Allen.
Okay.
I think Lamar Jackson's already got 2, so he's got that thing going against him. Josh Allen's had a hell of a year. Like, he's the only team that's beaten the Chiefs. He beat the Lions. Like, he's got good stats this year. He is clearly the guy. He is working with just, Shakir and Cooper and Cook, and they're all good players, but not like superstar.
Yeah, he's raising
guys.
them.
Like he when coming into the season, everyone's like Buffalo Bills got rid of all their weapons. We don't have Diggs anymore. We don't have any Gabe Davis anymore. And look at him. He's done even better without them.
That's absolutely the case for him. I agree that the preseason expectations, which again are our own creations in our own minds, but this is how MVP works. Yeah, he raised himself to another level, but he is way below Burrow and Lamar on the statistics.
I know.
Almost 2 below. So, okay, Lamar has 3,955 yards and 39 passing touchdowns. Allen has 3,731 yards. So he's only 200 yards below.
Yeah.
But he's 11 touchdowns behind Lamar Jackson. He's got only 28 passing touchdowns. And, of course, they're both behind Burrow. The thing going for Allen is the 531 rushing yards and the 12 rushing touchdowns.
That helps.
Yeah, and it's a big deal because we all know MVP is a December award. I'll never get over Tom Brady losing the MVP to Aaron Rodgers in 2021 when Brady did everything better.
Yeah.
Just
recency bias.
Yeah, just didn't have as good a December as Rodgers. But anyway, it is a December award. And Allen had his 2 best games in December. Yeah. The Rams, when he had the 3-3.
And Detroit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, mostly because I think Jackson's going to get the shaft because he's already won 2, even though his stats are better than his MVP season last year. Yeah. Like, clearly. But I also put like a clutch factor on this. Like when it comes to like fourth quarters and like who's the guy that's really, really stepping up. And it's not like Lamar's been terrible, but when I'm remembering this season as like who stepped up in the fourth quarter, balls in your hands no matter what, it's Josh Allen.
Yeah, the Josh Allen. I mean, you already mentioned the Chiefs, but maybe the most seismic play of the year when he took that 4th and 2 and just ran through the Chiefs front 7 and secondary.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not trusting anybody else. This is on me.
Yeah, and contrasted with Lamar Jackson, who blew games to the Raiders and Browns this year.
Right.
And they're 11-5, right?
Yeah.
So they're
and he lost to the Steelers. He looked ugly in that game. He's got Derrick Henry, who's had a heck of a season. Yeah. I don't think Josh Allen has that. So I just think if he's like, if you want to take it in the full context of most valuable player for their team, if you take Josh Allen away from the Buffalo Bills, they're down there with the Patriots right now. Yeah. Like you put another quarterback in that situation, they're dreadful. like Josh Allen's 10 plus wins for that team.
Yeah, okay.
It's all him.
I agree.
Baltimore, I think, could win
Yeah.
a little more games than with Lamar out. Not that Lamar's a bad player, but I think Allen's more valuable to his team.
I think Lamar Jackson absolutely deserves an MVP this year, and he's just being overrun by a performance by Josh Allen that it is fueled by our perception preseason and the roster around him, the reality of that. The rushing is a big part of it. The 12 rushing touchdowns are going to save him. And we have kind of this built-in nice little thing, which is that we gave Lamar Jackson an MVP last year for a performance that wasn't his best.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a pre-consolation MVP for Lamar Jackson was given in 2023.
And Josh Allen has a receiving touchdown.
Oh,
let's not
my
forget
apologies for forgetting.
All right. That might put him over the top. Those voters are like, oh, it's pretty dang even. Receiving touchdown?
Yeah. That was the Lions game, right?
That was that was Niners.
Oh, yes.
In the snow.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that was the snow.
I know. And screw you, Niners. Yeah, that felt good. But I mean,
we're both Josh Allen.
And Barkley, I think they're going to rest him this week. Even if they played him and he broke the record, I don't know if he can get over Lamar or Josh Allen in the votes here.
Yeah, I
like 101 yards for the record.
Yeah,
but even if he got it, I still don't think he would get MVP.
For a running back to get the MVP, you can't have a great quarterback season, and there are two of them happening right now.
I mean, Offensive Player of the Year is like a no-brainer right now. Yeah, that's Barkley 100%. Yeah.
I mean, I don't really think this is going to be some bold takes here, so get ready.
Uh-oh.
But I don't think this year by Saquon Barkley is at all better than McCaffrey last season, or McCaffrey in 2019, or Le'Veon Bell in 2016, or Marshawn Lynch in 2015. Like, this is just rushing yards.
Yeah.
We, for some reason, don't count receiving yards. He's nowhere near Chris Johnson in 2009.
Like total yards.
Yeah. He's not going to get to even McCaffrey. He's not going to go nowhere near McCaffrey from last year or 2019. We get this rushing yard thing. He's got 101 yards to Eric Dickerson, right?
Yeah.
Like 84 Eric Dickerson. 03 Jamal Lewis. It's like, why are we talking about those guys when the best running back seasons of all time are 99 Falk, 06 Tomlinson,
and Chris Johnson.
And Chris Johnson. Yeah. Those are the best running back seasons of all time. They're not even in this conversation because we're siphoned in on rushing yards.
One statistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of the all-purpose yards. Yeah. And I think he is like 300 to 400 back of the all-purpose yards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's
way back.
He's done okay receiving, but he's only got like 250 yards receiving or something like that.
He would need 220 or 236 yards from scrimmage to catch Chris Johnson.
Yeah. And I would love...
In the 17th game, by the way, that Chris Johnson didn't have.
I would love for him to play this week. And he's not going to. They have to rest him for the playoffs.
Yeah, he says it's in God's hands.
Oh, gosh, jeez. Definitely not winning MVP now.
God. Like, you can weigh in on this, Saquon.
Yeah, right? I mean, it would be sweet for him to beat the rushing record against the Giants in Week 18. But the fact that he got over the 2,000 mark is still really, really impressive.
And
I mean, we're dogging him compared to these legends these legendary seasons. So, but it's still very impressive.
Yeah, and he did it in the 16th game.
Yep.
The Philadelphia Eagles have just even without Jason Kelce, that offensive line is so stout,
right?
And I hope they go for it, but 101 yards is a little much to just go for.
Yeah,
but it is the Giants, so that could. I mean,
influence the opinion a little bit.
The Giants could fold.
Oh, yeah.
They could fold as a franchise and just give up if this happens. They are already on such tilt. The Hard Knocks clips are going over and over and over again.
They were booing after a neighbor's touchdown.
Oh,
last week.
Because they wanted to
because they won, and they're like, oh, no, we needed a quarterback. Like, why are we doing this?
Ain't no good quarterbacks in this draft, Giants fans.
I do like that they didn't tank. I appreciate that.
I do too.
Thank you, Dable.
God, that's America, man. Yeah. We're not soccer. Yeah. We don't have guys losing for no reason or playing for a tie if it gets past halftime. This is America. You play to win.
Love it.
Last thing I'll say on this, we'll keep the MVP conversation a tight 15. Eric Dickerson, quote, doesn't want Saquon to break his record.
Wow.
Which I find that honestly refreshing.
Yeah.
And Dickerson himself called out that they're like, well, what about the 17th game, right? That's not fair, right? Dickerson broke O.J. Simpson's record. O.J. Simpson did it in 14 games.
Yeah.
And he pointed that out. So props to you, Eric Dickerson.
Okay.
You have my respect.
Got my respect, too. I like that. But I think we're both going Josh Allen MVP.
We're both Josh Allen.
Okay.
And even if he doesn't play. Now, something that could honestly potentially spin this a little bit. We have this Saturday slate of games, the AFC North games. The Ravens are playing the Browns in the early spot on Saturday. They have to win to clinch the AFC North and get the home field playoff game. If they don't, the Steelers will be motivated to play the Bengals on Saturday night.
Yeah. Ravens play first.
Okay. So Lamar could. I mean, what if he pops up 5 touchdowns and 300 yards?
He just slaughters the Browns.
Yeah,
which is very possible.
Yeah. Guess how much the Ravens are favored over the Browns in this game.
I'm gonna say like at least 7.
It's 17 and a half.
17?
17 and a half.
Holy crap! Nuts. Do they know that they lost to the Browns? Right? Didn't the Ravens lose?
They did. Though they were just favored by 16 over the Giants, and they covered that.
Okay.
I think a lot of this is because it's DTR. Yeah. Dorian Thompson-Robinson. This is the Browns' way of tanking. Put this guy in.
Right.
I don't know what, but 17 and a half, and I honestly wouldn't bet the Browns to cover.
I know they've been bad.
They're home. They're at home right now.
Been really, really bad. Yeah. Oh man. I mean, I do think the Ravens will win this game.
Yeah, me too.
But 17 and a half, that's just incredible. Like, but if I'm the Ravens, I'm going out there like, let's thump these guys first half and then rest, right? Yeah. Like just absolutely demoralize them and then just kind of pitter-patter around third and fourth quarter.
The Bengals, the NFL is really smart to make this a Saturday night game because the Bengals have all of the motivation. There's no scoreboard watching.
Yep.
They need to beat the Steelers and they need the Broncos and Dolphins to lose to get into the playoffs. As you were talking about in the Joe Burrow section of the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
But they won't, the Broncos and Dolphins don't play till the next day. So they've got to focus on this Saturday night game. So we're going to get full Joe Burrow, full T. Higgins, full Jamar Chase. And
I like
it.
Be
Interesting.
Yeah. And the Steelers on a downfall. Mm-hmm. I think they lost their last 3. They've been good opponents. Like, let's not lie about that. You lose to the Chiefs, that's tough. You lose to the Ravens, that's tough. And they lost to somebody before that was tough. I can't remember who it was. But
Eagles,
yeah. So you lost to like three teams that are in like at least the top like 7 or 8 teams in the league.
I would say that's 3 of the top 5.
Yeah. So I mean they're on a little bit of a downslide, but like I'm still like this is a stout team.
Yeah, and it's all been without Pickens.
Yep.
And that feels like that's absolute paramount for Russell Wilson is to have George Pickens. He was back on Christmas Day, but that was his first game back
against the Chiefs.
Yeah. The last time that Russell had Pickens was against Cincinnati in what week was that? It's like week 12 or 13.
Yeah.
That's when Russell had like 400 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Oh yeah.
That was, against these dang Bengals defense. I would love to see another shootout.
I think
Steelers ended on a hot note. Bengals ended on, as they've been playing all year.
I definitely see a shootout in this game because you ain't stopping Joe Burrow. Dude's going to throw for 300, 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's almost guaranteed.
Yep.
I mean, he is on absolute fire. I still have never seen a guy read slant routes as well as Joe Burrow can read a slant route. And he can have like 4 receivers wide, all of them doing slant routes. He's going to find the right guy that's got the leverage. He's amazing at this stuff.
It looks like 2019 LSU. Yeah. I just can't believe Burrow. Back in LSU, one of the things that was the best about him was his mobility within the pocket.
Oh, yeah.
And I never thought I'd see him dominate the NFL the way he dominated college like that. But we are there.
Yeah.
He needs 359 yards to get to 5,000 this season.
I think he gets it.
Yeah. I think he gets it too.
Yeah. I think he's going for it too, because even if they don't make the playoffs, he's like, I gotta hang something on my resume here.
Now, Bengals are only favored by 1.5.
I'm surprised the Bengals are favored.
Yeah,
but I guess the Steelers have been on a slide. Bengals are on a rise.
Steelers might have nothing to play for too. I think that's baked into the line. If the Ravens thump the Browns, the Steelers may potentially rest some guys. But that's probably in the line.
They should have flipped that. Just made Bengals-Steelers go early and then the Ravens after.
But they couldn't do the 17.5 point spread on Saturday night.
Right? And if it didn't mean anything,
it'd be Collinsworth calling a 17.5 point game.
Okay, all right.
They talk about Mahomes the entire broadcast.
Right, I'll let this one go. But I am looking forward to this game. I want to see how the Steelers bounce back here. And I want to see how the Bengals really push to make the playoffs. See what kind of pressure they can put on the Broncos and the Dolphins coming to Sunday. This will be interesting. And Bengals, they tried really hard against the Steelers, whatever week that was, week 12 or whatever.
Right.
They gave their best shot. But that defense is so friggin' awful.
It's bad.
Big Lou is just, man, I'm surprised he's still got a job right now.
He won't.
He won't. I know, but they kept him the whole year. And they are top 5 worst defense in points given up. Yeah. It is atrocious. And
they let all their stars go. They let Jesse Bates go, who I think is one of the best players, at least for that 2021-2022 time frame when he was with the Bengals. He's one of the best players in the NFL. He was so good. They let a few of the corners go. The Bengals are a franchise that worries me.
Yeah.
They don't have a real front office. They work out of portables is what I picture in my mind. They don't have a full staff.
Yep.
Their owner is cheap.
Yeah. And they're going to let T. Higgins go like a bunch of fools thinking they can just replace him with some draft pick.
They're going to blow this.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Burrow is going to be Drew Brees.
Yeah.
He's going to put up these stat lines and never sniff the Super Bowl ever again.
Oh, such a shame.
And I said it in 2021. Joe Burrow should have won the Super Bowl. He ain't coming back. I said that.
Yeah.
I said that after the Rams game.
You might be right. I hate that you might be right, but no. It's Bengals ownership. And some of these franchises are just like that. Like if they had the Steelers ownership or the Packers, they'd have this thing figured out.
Burrow needs to get out and go to Pittsburgh. I guarantee a Super Bowl if he plays for Mike Tomlin. Dude, guarantee it.
Tomlin and Burrow? Oh, man. I'd be talking undefeated season.
Yeah, Burrow. I don't know how you can finagle this to pull like a LeBron situation. Start, Kevin Durant seems to get to whatever team he wants to go to.
Yeah.
Just try it out, Burrow.
Taking my talents to Pittsburgh.
Taking my talents to Pittsburgh doesn't sound as good as
nice
South
at
Beach.
all.
Yeah. All right, so we get to Oh, did you?
Pick the game?
I'm picking the Bengals.
Yeah, I think I'm rooting for the Bengals. I'm picking the Bengals.
Yeah,
I gotta go for it. I like Joe Burrow as much as I've liked Tomlin this season. Mm-hmm. I've been riding it too hard.
Yeah,
just because he gave that thumbs up across the I gotta let it go.
Yeah, I think and I do think that there is nothing hotter than Joe Burrow right now. He is absolutely on fire.
Yeah,
and he's for once not playing. He's probably playing his weakest offensive opponent because I was impressed by Bo Nix and the Broncos.
Yeah.
A lot of people called that game ugly between the Broncos and the Bengals.
No, it was good. Well played.
I thought it was a good game.
Yeah.
What do you think about? So the Broncos had a chance to clinch it last week against the Bengals. What do you think about Sean Payton not going for 2 at the end of that game?
Pretty foolish.
Yeah. Just look at the other sideline. Is it Burrow? Is it Mahomes? Is it Allen? Is it Lamar? If it's one of those 4, go for freaking 2, dude.
Yeah. And I've always thought of Sean Payton as a gambler. Yeah. So I was surprised when they didn't do it. I really thought it was almost a gimme. Of course you go for it, just try to clinch it now. You got a rookie quarterback against a guy that's been to the Super Bowl, just try to finish it right friggin' here. But maybe he was thinking the Bengals defense sucks so much. Maybe we can just pull it off in overtime. The Bengals will bungle it.
You were so riding so high with that drive and that touchdown. Just do it. Just slaughter them. Think of how the Bengals season has gone this year. They ain't stopping that 2-point conversion.
To me, I felt like they didn't go for it because they celebrated too long.
Oh.
Mims catch that touchdown. They're celebrating for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
They couldn't get a 2-point playoff.
Wow.
They're just you send out the kicker, dude. We're
not where Mims
We're not ready at all.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
Bo Nix very much wanted to go for it.
Oh, he was holding it up right away.
I gotta say, I have turned around on Bo Nix.
Yeah, it's about time.
I don't know. This is just full self-reflective mode. I knew that Bo Nix played too much college football to properly evaluate. And people were over-evaluating him his last year of college because or against other players who were only in their 3rd year of college. And I didn't think that was fair.
Yeah.
But that that is just my problem with other people's evaluations. That's nothing to do with Bo Nix. Maybe it's good to play 6 years of college football so you can learn Sean Payton's system quickly.
I mean, I kind of think it's partly that. And like teams want to develop people. They want to draft them super young, 21 years old, freak athletes, do that.
Yeah, but they suck at it.
But part of it is like the Broncos were an okay team already.
Yeah.
So you threw them into a decent situation. Caleb Williams playing for the Broncos right now, be far and away the rookie of the year. Like he would be fantastic playing for Sean Payton. But you get drafted. Sometimes it's just a situation you get thrown into. Yeah. Bo Nix got thrown into a great situation. You're the dude. We're developing you 100%. We've got a roster that can block for you. We've got some receiver talent. We've got a good defense. Like that's why Bo Nix is looking as good as he's looking. Yeah, and he's been afforded the opportunity.
Yeah, and we need you to be Brock Purdy, not Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of what I said was about Bo Nix isn't going to join the elite. And I still don't think he's going to join the elite.
No.
But he can helm something like this. This is the Kirk Cousins playbook. This is the, what Brock Purdy is doing right now. This is Tua, he could do this. His like attitude in that game too, just like the fire that he had, that bomb that he threw up to Sutton, I believe.
Yeah.
Just beautiful pass. And I've seen so much improvement in his deep game. So I'm pretty confident the Broncos just stomp out the Chiefs and go to the playoffs. Sorry, Bengals fans. Sorry, Dolphins fans. But I think the Broncos just take care of this on Sunday. They're 10-point favorites. The Chiefs will have Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really feeling that.
And it feels like the Broncos had a couple close losses. Like the Chargers loss was a close one. The Bengals, obviously, overtime. They had their opportunities. They could have gone for 2. So they've been in these games that they've lost.
Yeah.
They do seem like a playoff team. And I cannot put any faith in Carson Wentz. But
good to see him.
But I would love Andy Reid to draw up a game plan where he just says, screw you, Sean Payton and the Broncos, and just... But, like, at the same time, Andy Reid's like, I don't want the Bengals in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We're the 1 seed. If we let the Bengals sneak in as a 7 and then we have to play them in our first matchup, they don't want that. Like, I would throw this game 100% if I'm the Chiefs. You don't want to see the Bengals in there.
Yeah.
Like, at all. Broncos, still a tough matchup not Bengals tough, but like it's more reasonable.
It will be very interesting what they do. I don't think Andy Reid would ever just take that into account and not try. Like they're going to try and beat the Broncos, but what you do to lose the game is you sit the key players. You sit Kelsey, you sit Mahomes, you sit a few of the receivers. You sit Hopkins, you sit Chris Jones,
and you're going to let Wentz do Wentz things, which means there's going to be one dreadfully awful pick 6 in this game.
Yep, off a screen pass or something,
almost guaranteed.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm already throwing it out there. It's going to be bad.
If the Broncos do win, they will go to their first playoff game since the 2015 Super Bowl.
Ooh.
They have not played a playoff game since they beat the Panthers.
Man, that's quite a long stretch.
Yeah.
I forget how much time's gone since then.
Yeah, that's nine seasons, I believe. Yeah, so
a lot of quarterbacks in between that.
Yeah, and a lot of coaches. They had Vance Joseph era, they had Vic Fangio era, they had Hackett.
Oh, Hackett. Oh, God. No wonder we couldn't think of that one right off the bat. Worst game manager of all time. Had to hire a guy to do his clock management for him. Still never get over that. Never get. What's your job then?
Yeah. Speaking of Hackett, he's on the Jets. He's got he's not a play caller. He's just there.
He's just there.
he's hacky sacking with Aaron Rodgers,
blowing a whistle,
telling him how great he is.
Yep.
The Dolphins are actually the ones who really want the Broncos to lose. They're playing without Tua. They're going to be Tyler Huntley. I mean, I personally, I don't care. I think the Broncos are winning, so I don't really care. But
Snoop
Huntley.
Who gave him that nickname?
I don't know, but he doesn't deserve a nickname. You got to at least be a starting NFL quarterback to have a nickname.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
He's a Pro Bowl quarterback, though.
Oh, that's the biggest indictment of the Pro Bowl is that it was Tyler Huntley, it was Mac Jones,
Minshew got in there one
time.
last
year. Like, geez, I mean, that's the biggest indictment of the Pro Bowl possible.
It's awful.
Yeah,
but I don't think this game's. I mean, the Broncos win.
Yeah,
I'm just shocked the Dolphins are even in it. Because we've hardly talked about them. Like halfway through the season, like Bengals have been the one I've been wanting to catch up. Or the Jets plummeted, and I was like, oh, whoops. Dolphins have just been slowly sneaking under the radar. I got a little more faith in old Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
Like, he seems to be a better coach than I thought he would be.
It's a good sign when you don't collapse.
Yeah.
Everything went wrong, and they didn't collapse into, 4-12. You know? So I agree. Mike McDaniel definitely going to get another year and could interested to see what the next phase is. So
I do expect them to beat the Jets, though.
Yeah.
Because the Jets are friggin' awful.
Dude, Rodgers is toast, man.
He needs to retire.
This may be his last game, and he's definitely got to get that 500th touchdown and then walk off into the sunset. Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude's looking like Eli Manning on his last year.
It looks so bad. It looks very unlike Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
A lot of the pass rushes just he's blind to the rest of the field because the pass rush has just overwhelmed him. It's like, man.
I'm hoping the NFL figured out this year and the last couple years that not everybody's Tom Brady and you can play till you're 45 years old.
No, they have not.
Most of these quarterbacks, you turn 35, you are on like a couple years left. Mm-hmm. Like Kirk Cousins, awful. Like, I mean, Aaron Rodgers been terrible here. Like,
Brady is the exception.
Yeah.
We're still at the point where 38, 39 is where most quarterbacks are toast.
And there's still dumb GMs out there that'll think otherwse, but I mean,
well, there's agents too using Brady's trajectory as proof. Okay, so let's talk the only other before we get to Minnesota, Detroit, which I know everyone's wanting us to talk about. So let's do this one really quick. But the NFC North is up for grabs. Technically, Tampa Bay needs to beat the Saints. Mm-hmm. If they don't, then the Falcons need to beat the Panthers. I already said on the podcast, I'm fairly confident the Saints will beat the Buccaneers, but that the Panthers will beat the Falcons, and so the Buccaneers will go to the Super Bowl because that's NFC North football, baby.
NFC South. That sounds about right.
Baker,
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Or Baker loses and then the Falcons also blow it because Penix doesn't look like he's that good anyways. So
Penix looks like a rookie playing a talented rookie playing in week 2 of the NFL season.
Yeah.
That's because that's what is happening.
Yeah.
That's his situation right now. But Baker Mayfield, when he's not expected to do good, will crush everyone's expectations. When he is expected to handle the Saints here, I don't know. I don't know how he can do it 2 weeks in a row.
I know, but I really like Baker, man.
Hey, he's up to 39 touchdowns. He's tied with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
It's Burrow 42, Lamar 39, Baker 39.
I mean, if the Bucs had a better record, Baker would be in that MVP conversation.
Yeah, I think so.
But they're just always middling. He has righted the ship. There was like a good 3-4 weeks there where Mike Evans and Godwin are out.
Both out, yeah.
And he's still out there winning football games. He's been fantastic. Bucky Irving, great running back with them. Defense has been battered all season. I want to see the Bucs in there because they got high-profile wins as well.
Yeah.
They beat the Lions. They beat the Eagles. I mean,
I think they get it. They're favored by 14.5 over the Saints.
They should absolutely win this game, but it would be classic Bucs to lose this game.
I am pretty confident. I mean, they should have already clinched. Their loss to Dallas and Sunday Night Football sort of a fluke.
Yeah.
I feel like Dallas just turned on their Super Bowl juices for that Sunday Night Football game, knowing they weren't going to need it.
Like, we need to win one at home.
Absolutely. I mean, that was such a hard hitting game.
Oh yeah.
We of course watched that having our Christmas with our dad. Yeah. Like, that was like just a that was a playoff football game.
Yeah. Some of the most brutal hits of the whole season in that game.
Dallas gave it to him. Tampa Bay should have probably already clinched, and I think they'll handle it. They'll handle it.
But regardless of what the Bucs do, I think the Falcons will lose to the Panthers. I mean, I'm sorry, but I think it's going to happen.
They're out of sorts. They are out of sorts.
Yeah.
I mean, they had the Commanders game handled, and they just went away.
Oh, yeah.
That defense just... they gave up 3 7-minute drives. They didn't even look like they were trying on some of the touchdowns that the Commanders scored.
I don't think they want to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they probably don't.
I think they're just kind of playing that way.
Yeah.
So,
all right, let's get to the grand finale. So we got about we'll go to 45 here. So we got 10 minutes to talk about this big.
This is the game, man.
I mean, this is a massive Sunday night football game. Minnesota at Detroit. They're both 14-2.
Whew.
The most combined wins for a regular season matchup of all time. The first head-to-head matchup for the 1 seed in a season finale that has happened since the playoff expansion.
Yeah.
some people are saying like, oh, this is like Marino Dolphins versus the Bears in 85 or 1990 Giants versus 49ers was hugely hyped, or the biggest Brady and Peyton. Yeah. I don't think that. I don't think that this is like the best regular season matchup of all time. I still prefer Mahomes Allen if we're talking about just hyped games.
Oh yeah.
But the fact that it's for the 1 seed makes it one of the most interesting games I can ever remember.
Yeah. For what's on the line.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fantastic.
And who would have thought?
Oh, the Vikings.
How did we get here?
We went with like Vikings drafted J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, here we go. Kind of a rebuild year. Hopefully McCarthy's all right. Maybe they sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah. We did both take the over on their 6.5 wins confidently.
Oh, yeah. And when McCarthy went down, I was definitely confident in that. I've been a Sam Darnold believer since free agency.
Yeah, you said that in our preseason.
I said that was the best quarterback signing of the whole damn free agency, and I was right. Well, I was wrong about many things.
Ring the right bell. Ding, ding.
I was correct about Sam Darnold, and I'm glad to see him doing well. He's got great weapons around him. I mean, it's a fun thing to watch. Yeah. 14-2 fun to watch? I cannot believe it.
It's like
I'm shocked.
I remember when they lost to the Rams on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, okay, this is probably the Vikings. You know, they're shooting for a wild card game. You know, like that's going to be it. They've won every single game since that day. Yeah. Since the refs missed that face mask call on Sam Darnold. Not saying they were going to win, but, you know, that did happen. They beat, it was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, they're on a 9-game winning streak.
Man.
And they've beat some good teams, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they beat the Packers, of course, just recently.
Yeah.
They beat us, the Seahawks, you know. But they've also got a nice little AFC South streak in there. They had Jaguars, Titans, Colts for a couple weeks. They played the Bears twice, you know.
That always helps.
They've gotten a nice streak, but I can't believe that they got here. The Lions must be so frustrated. The 1 seed was like theirs for so long. We're just waiting for the Vikings to lose one game, and they never did.
Yeah. It's amazing. And, you know, you just got to give credit to, I mean, as much as we're going to give Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson credit, the Brian Flores narrative has gone away, really. That defense is still fantastic. They get pressure in so many different ways. I know their points against, or how many points are given up, is still like a top 10 defense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's been the key to success. They're affording Sam Darnold so many opportunities to get it done.
Yep.
And that's been why the Vikings are winning all these games. Some of them have been ugly. Some of them have been Sam Darnold looks great. But the consistency of that defense, flying around, bringing pressure off the edges, just mixing it up all the time. That's why this team is really good. And nobody talks about this team like they're a Super Bowl contender. Yeah. Still, they're 14-2. We still don't talk about them like
we've
that.
seen this too much.
Yeah,
we've
good
seen
point.
too many 13-3, 14-2 Vikings teams. We talked about 2017. We talked about 2022. There's also 2015.
Yeah.
When they were like 13-3 and they lost immediately in the playoffs. Right. This happens.
Yeah.
This is Viking football. And it's Sam Darnold. You keep waiting for him to turn back into a pumpkin. But I think you're right. It is the Brian Flores defense giving them multiple chances. You also can expect, you know, there's like this unseen like force field or like superpower, which is Justin Jefferson. The offense looks good for some reason, and you don't quite know why. It's because the other team is in an absolute panic about Justin Jefferson at all times. Even if he doesn't have 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, that's why it looks good. So you've got Brian Flores on defense. You got Jefferson making things easier for Sam Darnold. This is really something.
Yeah.
We talked last year that I honestly thought the Vikings were going to win the Super Bowl last year. Like after they started 0-4, they got super hot. And I was like, this is one of the best teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
And Kirk Cousins blew his Achilles. They still were winning games with randos.
They still won like 8-9.
Yeah.
With like 4 different quarterbacks. Josh Dobbs, for crying out loud.
I'm glad we started with the Vikings because I'm really excited for them to even be part of this game.
Yeah.
If they get the 1 seed, that's crazy.
The most underrated 14-2 team in the history of 14-2 teams. It's baffling.
Well, they're about to be rated properly because they got their chance.
Here it is.
Just win against the Lions. And the Lions, of course, are... well, first of all, they came out to play in a meaningless Monday Night Football game against the 49ers. Win or lose, this game was going to be for 1 seed.
Yeah.
And they just sent all their starters out there and they played hard and they thumped the 49ers.
That's Campbell. That's what he does.
And that's karma. That's the karma that he needs.
Oh, yeah.
They play football. Remember when they got eliminated from the playoffs earlier in the day in the finale?
Oh, the Packers.
Was this 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got eliminated, but they still played that Sunday Night Football with like all the heart in the world.
Yeah.
Just freaking USA. No stupid Manchester U's going to put their extra defenders back to try and play for a tie. None of that.
Right.
They had to run and shoot back then too. The hook and ladders, like hell yeah.
I like it. I like
that karma.
The national pride too. I like that.
Don't play for a tie. This is America.
Campbell's great, man, and that offense is humming.
Yeah, it really is.
It's really, really impressive what they've been able to pull off, even with Montgomery out. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're just trying out people like they're just saving. Gibbs is going to take over in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean that's guaranteed.
Gibbs is the absolute key for a Super Bowl run for the Lions.
But I feel like Dan Campbell's got the whole like. They are down to 3 toes and 1 ass cheek right now. So like that defense is hobbled. And yes, they're biting at those kneecaps.
Hobbled, yeah.
But man, oh man. But you got to love the offense. I mean, Goff's really only had 1 bad game, and it was the Texans game on Sunday Night Football, middle of the season. Yep. And they still won that.
They won that game.
So, I mean, but there's so many different weapons. I love that Jamison Williams is getting involved. Amon-Ra St. Brown has got to be the smartest receiver in the NFL. Like, he might as well be a quarterback at the receiver position. He is so crafty.
Dude, he's so good.
Man, he's incredible. He's always the guy doing the pick and the hook and ladders. Yeah, he's the guy.
This is the best offense in the NFL.
Yeah. And the line, the offensive line, dude, unbelievable.
That's a big reason.
Holy crap.
But it is probably going to be the worst defense in the playoffs.
Yeah.
At least from a realistic Super Bowl contender. There are too many injuries. Just too many.
They've been surviving so far, but you're getting closer to Bengal range.
Yeah.
Where that defense is so bad that you can't actually win these close games against really, really good teams. That's the worry with the Lions right now. And they've been worried about it since Hutch went down. But it's become even a bigger problem down in December here.
Yeah. Well, the pass rush particularly. Yeah. That unit has been devastated. It's the starters and the backups, and now they're starting to lose corners and safeties and stuff like that. It's just I don't have a lot of faith that the Lions are going to even go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I mean, they could put their heart and soul into this game, and
I mean, if I'm Detroit, I'm throwing everything at this game to get that bye.
What if?
Because you do not want to go on the road next week.
What if they just forfeited this game? Okay, so what are they trying to accomplish, right? They're trying to get a week of rest.
Yeah.
So they have to play this basic playoff game to earn a week of rest.
Yeah.
Why don't they just skip this playoff game, take this as the week of rest, and then they still have to play 4 playoff games?
Interesting.
I think I'm onto something.
Dan Campbell, we're calling you up. Campbell, we're going to let you know.
who put all his starters in against the 49ers on Monday Night Football, forfeits the game live on NBC at 5:15.
It's interesting because once you get into the playoffs, you're thinking about who you're going to actually face up against.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the 1 seed, you might just be playing Minnesota in 2 weeks anyways, or Green Bay.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to lose it and then go play Philly.
Yeah, actually, I take that back. They want that. They want it to be in Detroit.
Yeah, they do need that. They need the home crowd. Their defense is going to be awful on the road. But
this is going to be electric in here.
Where is this one at? This is in Detroit, right?
This is in Detroit.
Okay.
And by the way, Detroit did not lose a road game the whole year.
Okay. Campbell's got some things to think about, but he won't cave. He'll give his best shot no matter what. That's just the Dan Campbell way.
Absolutely. Yeah. USA. We're going to play for a tie. Remember the Raiders-Chargers? They didn't just play for a tie. they had a thought experiment like I just did too, where they could have both played for a tie and gone to the playoffs and stuff like that. That's not America. We don't play for ties.
Yeah. You either win and celebrate or you lose and you cry. That's how it should be.
At least I know I'm free.
You're either homeless or you're in a mansion.
Yeah.
Live with it.
That's America, baby.
This one's a tough one to call. Let's be honest. This one's really tough.
Yeah. Let's try.
I mean, as much as I say Detroit's hurt and they're wavering, I feel like they're still going to win this game. Mm-hmm. I still just think that they're going to take it.
The Lions.
Yeah, the Lions are still going to win this sucker, and the Vikings are still going to be underrated as the 5 seed and just cause some chaos there. But I mean, I just there's something about Detroit at home I really, really like. I like Campbell. I think he's throwing everything at the wall. And Minnesota, for as good as they've been, I mean, it's going to be a close game. The first time they played, it was super close.
Yeah. Yeah, the Lions were like up by like 11.
Yeah.
They
fumbled.
The fumble 6.
Yeah.
The Vikings took the lead with like 5 minutes to go, and Lions drove and got the field goal. It was an exciting game.
Yeah.
It's like week 7, though. It's a long time ago.
Right.
I'm picking Vikings.
Vikings? Yeah.
I'm picking Vikings. This is what the Vikings do. It's still the regular season.
Yeah.
They're going to be just fine. That 2015 season I mentioned earlier, like there's so many great Minnesota seasons across history where they look like one of the best teams in the league, at least on the standings.
Yeah.
And then they just lose in the playoffs. 2015, in the Sunday night finale, they came out and thumped the Packers in Lambeau Field to earn a playoff berth or clinch the division, clinch the NFC North.
Oh, yeah.
In Lambeau, in the snow, the Vikings did that, lost in the playoffs. So they could do this.
So they can
and
win.
Then they'll just lose in the playoffs.
I mean, it's the worst unit on the field is Detroit's defense.
Yeah.
And Minnesota's defense is good enough maybe to slow down Detroit enough where they could just win the shootout clearly. The
Lions secondary is torched all the time. And they were torched when they were healthy.
Yeah.
This is Justin Jefferson. This is a Vikings game. I'm calling Vikings.
Okay. All right. You almost swayed me there. But
it's good we're on the opposite
side. I'm sticking with the Lions.
All
I've
right.
been rooting for them. That was my Super Bowl pick before the season started.
Yeah.
I said Sam Darnold's the best quarterback signing, and the Detroit Lions are winning the Super Bowl.
You did.
So they're both going to be awful.
Who did you have losing the Super Bowl?
Bengals.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Who won't even make the playoffs.
Yeah. And I have Packers in the Super Bowl, which I'm starting to worry about. I still think the Packers are going to beat the Lions in the playoffs because life is unfair, dark, cruel, and harsh.
It could happen.
All right.
It could definitely happen.
Week 18's about. We'll be back next week to preview all the wild card games.
Playoffs, baby.
Miles.
I'm Kirk.
Good night.